You've seen his spectacular bear trap trick shots. You've witnessed his chaotic tripwire placements.
You're no fun!
And we all know his how do you say that?
Hello everybody, welcome back to the first and last episode of the Dr. B late night show that I just came up with yesterday. I'm your host Watercape, and tonight I'm here with the king of demolition himself. You may have remembered all of those old advertisements of Roblox buildings collapsing. Guess who it was? All those band players, they felt the wrath of you know who. The man, the myth, the legend, Taph! So, tell me, how did you stand out from the crowd? We heard so many stories and we can't wait for you to answer them. Oh, he's mute, I forgot. God, I'm so insensitive. Do we have a translator here? No. No? No, we don't. Alright, hold on, cut real quick. Give a big, explosive welcome to Taph. Taph is the newest survivor coming along in the March 29 update for Forsaken. He introduces a new class called Trapper and focuses on using his abilities to completely shut down chases. Here are all of the stats for Taph. He will cost 500, have 90 HP, a difficulty score of 3 stars, stamina being default, ability 1 Tripwire, ability 2 Subspace Tripmine, and a unique passive. Now, this is all subject to change, so don't quote me on this. Today, I'll show you how to use Taph to his fullest potential, and I'll make sure you don't absolutely blunder all of your games. And trust me, I'm qualified to teach you guys. I'm trying to get level 100. Please. No! Taph is another OC coming from Forsaken. He's a mute yet mysterious demolitionist who used to work for Builderman, using his arsenal of explosives to destroy the homes of terminated users. Rumors say he also blew up the homes of those who were damned in the Spectre. How about that? However, after allegations were shot off explaining how his unfair actions could cause falsely terminated users to go homeless, he uses his expertise in field trapping to fend off angry hordes. Or at least I believe, because I really don't know the lore and I just looked this up. Here's a quick breakdown of his abilities, starting off with the Tripwire.
This is the Tripwire.
This is the Tripwire. This is the Tripwire. This is the
Okay, we get it already.
The Tripwire is, well, a Tripwire, and its cooldown is 25 seconds. When activating this ability, Taph takes a moment to crouch down. After a short time frame of 1.3 seconds, he is now able to move freely at a slower walk speed, slowly setting up his Tripwire. You have no limit to how long your Tripwire can be, so long as the wire doesn't collide with any objects. When you activate the ability again, Taph will leave the crouch state and place the second point to complete the Tripwire. The Tripwire, when triggered by a killer foolish enough to walk on it, will get slowness 1 for 5 seconds. They also get highlighted to all survivors for 8.5 seconds. This is great for allowing your team to keep in check on the location of the killer, letting sentinels know where to be, and shooing supports from certain doom. Now, to the big guns, the Subspace Tripmine.
Subspace Tripmine! Hooray!
The Subspace Tripmine is a very explosive device that rips a gashing hole in the fabric of reality that results in a large explosion. The bomb naturally enters subspace and becomes invisible. This ability is specifically based off the Roblox gear named the Subspace Tripmine, published on June 19, 2009. Fun little trivia. The cooldown for this ability is 40 seconds. Now this will be the ability you rely on the most, as its powerful status effect will completely shut down a chase. When activating this ability, Taph will toss down a Subspace Tripmine. The Tripmine will eventually become transparent and harder to see, making it very hard to spot when the killer is focused on something else. When triggered, the mine will debuff the killer with Subspace 3 for 5 seconds and Helpless 1 for 3 seconds. The Subspace effect gives a very dark filter and forces your screen in a certain direction, causing disorientation. This is especially devastating for the killer, as once their camera jerks their point of view out of the way, they rub their eyes and notice that their whole world is just pure black. There is nothing they can do but run forward and hope they can catch the survivor before they lose track. What makes the trap so infuriating is not only its big radius, but the fact that it can be triggered through walls, making it even harder to avoid. With tactical positioning, Taph can really pack a punch and make the killer's day completely miserable. Make sure you utilize your abilities to their greatest potential, as although Taph has a low skill floor, they have a pretty high skill ceiling. Here's some examples of what and what not to do with Taph.
Spooky floating head, how scary!
Here is the correct way to place a tripwire. Now, you can obviously place your tripwire wherever you please. However, a killer can destroy a tripwire by hitting one of the 2 wooden structures with a melee attack or a projectile attack. This ability is best utilized when protected by a wall. By positioning the tripwire like this, you're able to shut down the killer from any sort of counter, or at least one that doesn't require a wasted ability to break it. Try to place as many tripwires as you possibly can, as you have a very low cooldown and you'll get even more value the more you cover up the map. If you're on maps that are a little bit too open, Planet Voss, you can invest your time in creating a very long wire instead, making it a little harder to get rid of when the killer is focused on a chase. Don't do this. The killer isn't going to stub their toe like it's a cartoon. Carefully place down your tripwire so the killer can disarm it with ease and prioritize as much coverage as possible for the best value. Now for the Subspace Tripmine, you can be a little bit more creative with this one. The radius to trigger this mine is very big, and yes, you can pierce through walls. And I'm gonna say it again, you can pierce through walls, you can pierce through walls, and you can pierce through walls. I want you guys to understand this. It's best to just keep the explosive hidden behind tight corners and entrances for maximum chance of activation. And no, don't do this. Yes, I know I have a few clips involving a subspace completely flying through the sky and perfectly landing right in front of the killer when you're attacking and just immediately exploding. But 99% of the time this isn't going to work, and you're going to end up becoming more dead meat for Shiletsky to consume. Set up the mine when you aren't being pursued and you have less risk of being gored. However, if you're really in a pinch, but you have some distance with the killer, you can throw a bomb while you regenerate stamina, and once you throw it ahead of you, you'll give it time to arm itself, and by the time the killer arrives, you'll have a blockage towards the killer. It's not going to be the best recovery, and they're probably going to counter it, but it's better than nothing considering the fact that Taph can't defend himself. Now, if you really want to be a team player, you can work together with other survivors to pull off nasty stunts. Builderman can focus on cutting chases in more open areas with his sentry, while Taph can close off more compact areas and outer rings of the map with his tripwires. This makes it extremely difficult for the killer to keep a consistent pace. If you want to be really nasty, you can also support the sentry with a subspace mine, making the task of taking down the sentry even tougher. You can also give survivalists a role in the game. Since they have powerful tools at their own disposal and they're going to be very selfish, the killer will most likely target them to avoid a harsh last man standing. They can take the role of being a distraction and lead the killer towards your traps, extending chases and giving the survivalist a more meaningful contribution to the team, instead of picking their nose. And of course, both of your abilities will make it easier on the sentinels regarding hits.
Riveting.
Sure, he may seem underwhelming, but with good coordination and smart planning, you can make sure everyone on the team doesn't end up demolished. We hope you guys enjoy the endless cycle of the Spectre with your new explosive friend, and we wish you a happy suffering. See you guys on the next one.